I think too many people on the forums have dismissed Geist and the home invasion breaker suite as being not good enough, or criticize Geist as an ID that lacks skill. It doesn't require too much skill to play Geist, both of which I heartily disagree. I think these comments are usually made because people haven't actually tried to play Geist yet. It's actually pretty interesting ID to play because there's so many decisions, nuances that can make or break your game. So I'm gonna show you how I think a good Geist deck looks like. This is rather conservative deck design using most standard criminal principles like central pressure, but using the home evasion breaker suite and Geist instead. I'm up against a fast Titan deck, so I need to hopefully get things rolling. And I start off with a peddler that doesn't get me any breakers. I only have a shiv in hand, so I think this is not good for me, and he rushes on at Oaktown, which is even worse. So Oaktown is really horrible. I can't contest it. I know he has probably a barrier or a code gear of some sort on the remote, so there's no point going in. I draw into a crowbar on my first click. Useless. I could install it, but I'm pretty sure he's running barriers, so I don't think I can get in. Instead, what I'm going to do is just build up my board state so I can eventually threaten his remote. I'll have to give up the Oaktown. Hopefully he'll get greedy here, leave the Oaktown on the table so that I can steal it. He does not do that. He advances it to 5 for big money and then scores it straight away. Notice he's leaving his centrals relatively undefended. I'm hammering them as hard as I can, but without an R&D interface, things are pretty tricky, and that's one problem with Geist. You cannot assert the R&D pressure that a standard ND deck normally can with multiple R&DIs, because all my influence is hooked up on other stuff. So that is pretty annoying, I'll have to admit. Not much I can do about that at this point, but he continues rushing out, and this suddenly becomes bad news. That is almost certainly an Atlas, and allowing him to get an Atlas is pretty much game. So on my first click, I cantrip, and I see an account siphon, and that is my cue to begin pressuring his HQ. In the meantime, he does get the Atlas off, which is pretty awful. I continue hammering his centrals. Hopefully I'll finally find an agenda. Instead I see a Mother Goddess. So after seeing Excalibur and Mother Goddess, I know I'm facing a different breed of Wayland deck altogether. This is one that says you absolutely, definitely cannot enter my remote because my end run ice is not a decoder. It's not a code gate. It's not a barrier. It's not a sentry. And you don't have any AI breakers in your deck you don't have any at all. I don't run Inside Job. I don't run Fem. So I knew this was going to be an instant loss for me. But still, I like to remind you that this is just a very niche matchup. Mother Goddess into chain agendas is more or less unheard of. The problem with this deck is that it lacks the central pressure needed to really threaten the core. If I have medium here, things will be completely different. But I don't. Instead, all I have are breakers that do nothing. I've quite a lot of money now with double Underworld, but that still does nothing. Poking R&D for 1 card each time is pretty useless. My only form of central pressure here is Account Siphon, which I'm ready to use anytime, as you'll see soon enough. But he's at a stage where it's a little too late to contest his sheer power. So here I just get my Corroder out because I knew that was the one piece I was missing, a barrier breaker. He demolishes his entire remote server and goes in for a new one. Well, I guess it's time to contest his remote server. He fetches a Project Atlas with the Project Atlas, and now I go for the Project Atlas by central pressure. First, I siphon him. If he resists the ice on HQ, I will be able to break Mother Goddess. He does not. Instead, I get the siphon off, but leave him at exactly 4 credits, which is a pain, because this means he can res Mother Goddess, as he does here. So I can't get in. And while he won't be able to score it next turn, he will be able to take 3 credits and threaten scoring next turn. And I still have no way of getting past Mother Goddess. So basically, account siphons at this point delay the inevitable, which is him scoring the Atlas for a total of 6 agenda points. Now I need to start digging his R&D. to find the winning agenda. So that's what I go for at this point. I find a high risk investment, so that's finally me on the board. 3 points to 4. I'm gonna hammer R&D again. Jackson Howard, that gets trashed, and I pass the turn over to him. He cannot do anything right now. He has to take 3 credits. So now I get another shot at his R&D, but do I draw cards instead? If I draw into a Count Siphon, I can delay him from scoring the Atlas for another turn. If I draw into R&DI, as I do here, this is perfect. I can start digging his R&D. Punitive, paper wall. Well, that's not good. But I mentally make a note here, if this had been a medium, my life would have been so much easier. I would be able, if he attempts to score the Atlas next turn, I will be able to fetch lots and lots of agenda points. I see a Sansan and I trash it because I'm rich. At this point, I'm floating tanks simply because, well, if he scorches me, whatever. But I don't think he has Scorched Earth. This looks like a pure rush deck, and indeed, he gets the Atlas. So right now, I'm basically, it's basically all or nothing for me now, because at 6 points, he can threaten hostile takeover to win the game. And since he's using shipment from Sansan, he's not concerned about being too low on credits. So on my first click, I run, after using the clone chip to fetch the shift. This is where the skill of Geist comes in. You sometimes want to sack your trashables on the board so that you can draw into more options, which hopefully open up your ability to play to threaten the centrals more. But in this case, all I drew was a third copy of Underworld Contacts, which wasn't needed at this point. So with 2 clicks left, having hit R&D and seeing nothing, hitting HQ seeing nothing, my only option here really is to run HQ again and again. I see the same old thing, but it's too late. I don't have enough clicks to use it, and that's game. Indeed, he does fetch the hostile takeover for the win. So now that you've watched this game, you're probably screaming to your screen, "This deck sucks! You're playing a horrible criminal deck. You have 0 solutions to a Mother Goddess." Well, yes, it's very easy to go down that route of thinking, but you never make good decks that way. This is a very niche deck. I admit it's good. It has low R&D vulnerability. Even though I had an R&D interface out, I couldn't find any more agendas to seal the game because the agenda density was so low and almost everything is untrashable from R&D. It's also very fast because you can just chain Atlas into Atlas into Atlas. As long as your Mother Goddess is a brick wall on your remote, your opponent's not getting in. That said, there are other ways to counter this sort of strategy besides including more bypass or AI breakers in your deck. It has the weaknesses of my deck that caused me to lose this game, I feel, are the fact that it is too slow early on. This means that I am forced to concede any form of early advantage that the corp may have, whether it's an Adonis or Sundew behind a remote, whether it's a first agenda Astroscript or Atlas or Nisei rushed at turn 2 or 3 before I find all 3 breakers. Also, that I have inadequate central pressure. The plan was to siphon him down before raiding his remotes, but when his Titan deck goes so quickly, I'm not able to find enough siphons to apply the central pressure before closing out the game, and R&D interface is far too weak a form of central pressure. So, my solutions are to switch things up. I'm going to include more peddlers in my deck at the expense of 1 clone chip, because peddlers cause influence. I haven't really run into a problem of having insufficient BNE or home invasion breakers late game. The biggest problem is the early game. You saw me drawing desperately for cards, and I just couldn't find enough to stop his first Oak Town and the subsequent Atlases, and that was the biggest problem. With Street Peddler, that should accelerate my early game much more significantly, and I hope this will help. Also, to increase R&D central pressure, I'm going to swap out the R&D interface for a medium. Again, that will cost more influence, but I think it's totally worth it because I do have the memory to support medium and it is way more powerful. He cannot ignore the threat of me going up to 5, 6, even 7 medium counters and just focus on his remote. That won't do. So I'll be giving this deck a role in the future. Maybe I'll be featuring on it on my channel, maybe not, but I still think it's pretty powerful and it's not to be underestimated. Thanks for watching. Happy net running. Goodbye.